All right, get going.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, class. This is group 9, and today we'll be doing understanding complex organizations. Before we start, I would like to give a brief overview of the previous chapter, which is chapter 7, interacting in teams and groups. The previous chapter explored the characteristics of groups, the way groups develop, and the dynamics among group members in order to emphasize how leadership in groups is process-oriented. The chapter presents concepts of teamwork and collaboration in group work and applications of relational leadership model. Understanding complex organization. Introduction. This chapter expands on team and group leadership to organization context, emphasizing the importance of relational leadership models and the 5 aspects. These aspects are purpose, inclusivity, empowerment, ethics, and process. Groups and organizations. Organizations are large collections of people that interact continuously within a complex structure to accomplish a specific purpose. They are inherently social entities, and their success depends on various groups within a staying connected within with, within it staying connected to work together effectively. The success of organization depends on the various groups staying connected through technology and a strong belief in a mission or purpose. Organizations are complex in their structure with many layers and departments and many people involved in leadership and decision making. Like, for instance, the process of a school. For a school to run successfully, it have a lot of groups involved within a school, within the educational process to bring one view together, which is for the children to learn and to be successful. Different rules, policy, and procedure must be in place. There will also be a number of different leadership positions within each role to accomplish one task. Organization exists to accomplish a specific purpose, and their existence can be understood by asking the who, what, when, where, how, and why question. By understanding the difference between groups and organizations, we can better understand their unique characteristics and how they work together to achieve a common goal. Organization as complex system. Organization are system with interactions that affect each individual subsequent interactions. Kevin Kelly's The 9 Laws of God are organizing principles in system, which apply to organization as well. These principles describe life and out of organization and will become more visible in the coming century. Organizations are challenging, but also have great potential due to the large number of talented members. Leaders may want to return to simpler times within the organization. In like when you now started working, the job actually just be easy, but as you go along, things get complicated. But qualities like enthusiasm, energy, Honesty, willingness to work hard, and character will serve them well in a complex organization. Organization leaderships. The previous section covered the follow topics. What are organizations? And why are they even here? It is also worthwhile to consider why leadership is necessary in a company. Leadership in an organization exists to assist these groups in cooperating to achieve a certain goal, since organizations are commonly understood to be the frameworks in which a collection of groups can interact with one another over time. This may sound straightforward, but what other role may leadership have? No matter how it develops, leadership has one function in life: to assist an organization in achieving its declared goals. While this goal may change over time, the organization leadership must always uphold its innate dedication to pursue its object. Leadership contributes to the sustainability of an organization by keeping its focus on its objective and ensuring its long-term existence. This is an essential leadership role. We think that the relational leadership model offers a practical framework that leaders may use to work towards achieving the goals of an organization. Leaders and members may collaborate effectively to bring about major change by being inclusive, empowering, ethical, and process-oriented, while also assisting all members in being purposeful and working towards positive goals. I now hand you over to the next presenter.
Organizational structure. Just as all organizations exist for some purpose, they also have structures that make their day-to-day operation easier. So Max Weber, he would have created a bureaucratic model for the organization, featuring the hierarchical structure, divisions of labor, and clearly articulated rules and regulations to govern how the organization should operate. So this structure was designed to promote order and accountability within the organization. And we'll see that in figure 81, this structure has been adapted to show how it might look for a typical structure organization, a typical student organization. This is figure 81, and this is the traditional organizational structure, which depicts the president at the top, the middle management, which is the officers and the committee chair, and well, the participants and the members. And this organizational structure is used throughout. I will use, let's say, any organization within the Ministry of National Security. I'll use the Defense Force, for want of a better, for simplicity. So we have the president, who we will refer to as the CDS, and then we have the officers, committee chair, which may be the middle managers, which is like the commission officers, the captains, the majors, as well as the warrant officers. And then we have the participants, which is us, the members. So this is typical, this is the traditional organizational structure. So we saw in that model the power, authority, and responsibility for leading the organization is at the top, in which I just explained, with the president, and it flows downwards in the structure through other officers and the committee members onto the workers. But things are changing now that there is a call for organizations to be collaborative. Barry would have said that in 2004. Also to be compassionate. Hills and Stevens would have said that in 2003. And emphatic. Yeah, and we would have said that also in 2003. But leadership within these structures is being asked to connect people across the entire environment by involving the wants, needs, and talent of the organization membership. Alan Sherry would have said that in 2000. We continue with the organizational structure. So one way to conceptualizing the organization proposed that the traditional pyramid be flipped upside down so that the members at the top and the president is at the bottom. So figure 8.2 will depict is an inverted organizational structure. This reconceptualization means that the work of the president is to support the efforts of the other officers and committee chair so that they can better meet the needs and wishes of the members. So it's just the opposite. This depicts it. So we see the president at the bottom, the officers in the middle, no change with that, and the members and the participants at the top. And as we see, the purpose of this is that so you will meet the wants and the needs of the organization. So we have another organizational structure that has been proposed is the concept of the web. The web is defined, both by its pattern, very similar to a spider web, and by the idea that the shape and the pattern of the web will vary over time. Over the time, this is called like the series processes. With this structure, new members can easily connect to the structure and its outer edges, where the web is looser and more permeable. So in figure 8.3, this will show the common purpose, where the center of the web, where the common purpose is at the center of the web, So we believe that the purpose of the organization and the reason it exists is more important than the leadership, and is the reason people become participants. However, within this web, communication is open and happens across and among all levels of the organization. As a result, the web constantly reinvents itself through the process of trials and error based on the structure. You notice there's the web structure, the common purpose is at the center, and everything is connected through that. It's like a web. So we have that communication and we have that process throughout. We have the non-hierarchical organizational structure. Lastly, there is a non-hierarchical organization whereby power and authority are shared amongst its membership. This organizational structure is used for philosophical reasons, as discussed, as decisions are made by consensus and leadership roles are shared. Some keynotes to remember. It's important to remember that the organization, its membership, and not the structure, example, the individuals that come together for a purpose. You need to keep that in mind. I'll read that again. The individuals that come together for a purpose. A structure would have been created to help members achieve a particular purpose and also to connect the individuals. Once the structure fails, it must be changed. However, it is noted that changing the structure may simplify things or make them run effectively, but it will not solve profound issues that exist between people. So despite changing the structure, it's not going to change the attitude of the individual or the persons within the organization. We go on to some organizational mission, visions, and core values. The importance of the mission, the vision, and core values of an organization cannot be overestimated, as they exist for a countless number of reasons centered around its members, the products, and activities, making this reason person to join. Making this reason the person to join. So you go to mission. And the organizational mission is quite frankly why it exists. And its statement should be able to answer questions on why does the organization exist. That is the main reason for a mission statement, as the case may be. It must be written in clear, concise language. The mission statement must reflect the personality of the organization. Even though the effectiveness of the organization will be determined by how well it moves towards its mission, the mission of the organization could be social, service-related, programmatic, political, or any combinations. Vision. A vision, an ideal or a unique image of the future. Uzas and Posner would have said that in 1995. I'll read it again. A vision, right, is an ideal or unique image of the future. Albert Chuck in 1994 terms it as an image of what the people of the enterprise aspire for it to be or become. It is believed that the vision answers the question, what is the ideal future for the organization? And the vision will answer that question. The vision that the organization embraces challenges both the leaders, and the membership to do their very best, sometimes even more than believed possible, to move towards the mission for which the organization exists. So the vision and the mission plays a key role. They work hand in hand. It can be a challenge to get members to share the vision unless shared and owned by the members. Not everybody will have the same vision. However, everybody entitled their own vision, so once they share and own by the members, the challenges will not exist. The mission and vision statement must both be clearly stated and inspiring as they tap into motivational systems of the people. As Margaret Whitley in 1992 notes, we need to be able to trust that something as simple as a clear core set of values and vision kept in motion through continuing dialogue can lead to order. I will say that again. We need to be able to trust that something as simple as a clear core set of values and vision kept in motion through continuing dialogue can lead to order. That speaks for itself. We want the values. Collins and Porras, in 1994, described core values as the organization essential and enduring tenet, a small set of general guidelines, guiding principles, not to be confused with specific culture or operating practices, not to be compromised for financial gain or short-term expediency. Core values answer the question: how do we, as an organization, as organization members, agree to treat ourselves and others as we pursue our mission and vision? We have organizational culture. It is believed that organizations take a culture of their own because of how powerful and influential they are. Edgar Schein, in his classic work, Organizational Culture and Leadership in 2004, defined this form of organizational culture as a pattern of shared basic assumptions that was learned by a group as it solves its problem of external adaptation and internal integration. That has worked well enough to be considered valid and therefore to be taught to new members as a correct way to perceive, think, and feel in relation to those problems. He continues. Propose that culture has three different levels. Propose that culture has three different levels. The most visible level is the artifacts, the structures and processes of the organization. Terence Dean and Alan Kennedy, in 1982, offers different framework from which to examine organizational cultures. They stress the importance of the organization's values, hues, rights and rituals, and communication network to have a proper insight into how the organization operates. One must have a sense of the organization's culture. So you must have that sense into the organizational culture to know how it operates. An organizational culture can also negatively affect life within an organization. As Stacy in 1992 notes, strongly shared culture inevitably block new learning and cut down on the variety of perspective brought to bear on an issue. It is important to note that the culture may also inhabit the organization, even though the development of culture supports the pursuit of the organization mission, values, and goals. I now hand you over to Mr. Gonzalez, where he will elaborate, or he will explain organization networks. Mr. Gonzalez.
Good day. An organizational network refers to an intricate system. An intricate system of connections and relationships that exist within an organization, including how information, communication, and resources flow among its members. Jessica Lippman and Jeffrey Stamps define networks as where disparate groups of people and groups linked together based on common purposes. The key are that they work together and have a common purpose. They bring together a wide range of people and groups, individuals and groups, and it addresses specific issue and work on an ongoing one. The key issues in organizational networks is agreement on the network's purpose, creating as many links as possible among members of the network and making sure multiple leaders exist within the network. When we say key issues, you might hear the word issues and you might just think about negative, but it also impacts positively. Agreement on networks and purpose, what I may agree with, you might not agree with. Therefore, once they remain focused, this will stimulate the best outcome for the organization's mission and vision. Creating many links as possible. Among members in the network, this can cause somewhat of a confusion at times as to where information was passed or who received specific information. But as I said, once they remain focused, this will stimulate the best outcome of the organization's mission or vision. And it will also create an ease in the atmosphere as to who to go to for what information, when, and how. Making sure that multiple leaders exist within the network, it can sometimes create a negative impact as different leaders have different opinions, styles, and so on. However, as I mentioned before, once they remain focused, this will stimulate the best outcome of the organization, mission, and vision. Life cycles of an organization, of organizations. A critical point in the success of any organization is the ability to adapt to change, changing conditions, changing membership, and changing leadership. This ability to adapt enables an organization to renew itself and its vibrancy. These stages in the life of organizations are similar to the stages of group development presented in Chapter 7. Organizations' adaptability continues. John Gardner presents the concept of lives of an organization. He uses the term infancy and maturity to differentiate organizations that are in their early lives from those that have evolved into something more orderly and more of a sense of direction. Additionally, stated at each stage, something is gained and something is lost. When organizations are young, they are very flexible and motivated, are willing to try new things, and can respond quickly to new challenges. Yet, they may expend much energy to accomplish relatively little. As organizations mature, this flexibility lessens and they become more orderly and more satisfied with slow, steady advances. An organization must ask itself two questions. What have we accomplished recently? How does what we accomplish reflect the organization mission? Answer to those questions. If you are having trouble formulating answers to either of those questions, you may need to re-examine what you are doing and how you are doing it. Remember that the purpose of meetings and standard operating procedures is to help the organization do things in the most expedient manner. The organization must be able to identify and describe significant accomplishments. They are not designed to become an ends unto themselves. As a leader, you must identify and describe significant accomplishments that you help your organizations achieve, not the fact that you attend or run a lot of meetings. Multicultural organization development. To remain vibrant and viable over an extended period, an organization needs to be willing to remake itself. One way to approach the organizational transformation is through the concept of multicultural organizational development. This process emphasizes the full participation of members from all cultural and social groups. This offers a fresh perspective from which to approach operational transformation. Armour Hills and Jackson will offer similar models for multicultural organizational development. This model in Exhibit 8.3 shows the organization moving from a perspective that is monocultural, exclusionary to one that is compliant and non-discriminatory through a redefined process, and finally to a multicultural perspective. Also, a commitment to end all forms of social oppression that may exist within the organization that blocks meaningful, inclusive involvement of all members. This emphasizes on the diversity and social justice offers a fresh perspective from which to approach organizational transformation. Because the relational leadership model emphasizes being inclusive and empowering, it is essential to understand how an organization might transform itself to be multicultural. So as I define monoculture and multiculture here, I'll give you an example. For example, a monoculture organization is like a garden where only one type of plant, let's say carrots, grow. In a work setting, it means that everyone is similar and has the same background, culture, or ideals. The benefit is that everyone might think alike, and there could be less conflict because people agree on many things. On the other hand, multicultural organization is like a garden with many different types of plants, like carrot, tomatoes, lettuce. In our work settings, it means that there are people from different backgrounds, cultures, and ideas working together. The benefit is that you get to learn from different people and their experiences. It can be more creative and interesting, like having a variety of vegetables in your garden. So in monoculture organization, everyone is familiar, which can be comfortable, but you might not learn as much. But in multicultural organization, there's a mix of people, and that can make things more exciting, and you can learn more things from others. As we are mentioning the term learn from others, this takes me to the other topic in this section, which is learning organizations. Peter and Sinch, Watkins and Masick, 1993, and others have proposed a way to conceptualize organizations that will help them operate successfully and develop the capacity to grow, change, and develop in order to adapt to challenges of constantly changing environments. Additionally, they believe that the models of personal mastery, mental models, shared vision, and team learning make up a framework of systems thinking. Each is interrelated with each other. Learning organizations continue here. So as I break it down, personal mastery involves individuals doing the best possible job. It's like a sailor with personal mastery. He will be mastering anything about boat, navigation, swimming, anything to do with seas, or what you might encounter out there. When they are skilled and empowered to use these skills, the whole organization benefits. Mental models are the assumptions that people make about the various aspects of the world. Imagine planning a PowerPoint presentation, and because you understand that all of us want a favorable mark, you assume that the others will put in the work. Yeah, right. It is important to compare the mental model that you have with others in the organization. In this way, false assumptions can be minimized. Mental models can be empowering for a whole organization. Consider what would happen if when members thought about the organization, the concepts and inclusion, empowerment, process, ethics, and common purpose immediately came to mind. These images could do a lot to guide the organization in a way that would help make it strong and successful. Shared vision focuses on the idea that the mission, vision, and purpose of an organization must be shared by all members. This avoids chaos and keeps the organization purpose-driven. Team learning is a collaboration where a group of individuals work together to learn, share knowledge, and solve problems collectively. As a member of the Protective Service, as we hear the word team, the first thing comes to mind is together each achieves the mission. So we're looking for the mission, and there is no I in team. In an organization, you have to play team to achieve the mission at an acceptable time. Finally, Finally, the systems approach governs the thinking in a learning organization. When people think systematically, they share responsibility for the good and the bad things that are happening, rather than looking for someone else to blame. Only an organization that is truly open to and embracing learning new approaches will make optimal use of the opportunity. To sum up this section, organizational networks are sufficient as they aid in achieving the organization's mission and vision. Even though life cycles may approach, the ability to adapt to these changes is very important to the organization so that more is gained rather than lost. Always ask the relevant questions in weekly meetings, seminars, making sure that they are answered positively. Remember, multicultural growth will always be advantageous, particularly during an organization's life cycle. It brings a larger range of people with diverse skill sets, creating more dynamic teams. Always ask relevant questions, don't assume, and keep focus on the purpose of the mission as a team. Accepting responsibility for our errors enables us to develop as a team and create a wonderful moral group. And this takes me to the end of my presentation as I hand over to Mr. Gerard Duncan, who will define virtual organizations for you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will be discussing virtuality, the impact of technology, and the new paradigm leadership. So understanding the function of technology in today's environment is essential for all leaders. The rise of virtual teams and organizations has since piqued the curiosity and attention of many experts worldwide. So Charles Handy, defines virtual organizations as those that do not require all or sometimes any of their people to be in the same physical location, right? That is to deliver services. It is an organization that exists as a network rather than a traditional office or brick and mortar, right? So for instance, the open software community is a fine illustration of a virtual organization in which individuals and teams from all over the world participate in software projects, right? That is without the need for physical presence, right? Given that they share codes, evaluate and enhance each other's work, and interact via online platforms. So we have like projects like Linksys, Apache, Mozilla Fox, to name a few, are developed by virtual teams of volunteers, which demonstrate this concept of virtual organizations. It's more a network of individuals or humans linked by technology. All right, moving on to the concept of virtuality. So the concept of virtuality, according to Ziggers, is the degree of virtuality. It varies along a continuum, in a nutshell. So the more a team is separated by factors such as geographical location, time zones, culture, or organization structure, the more virtual it becomes. All right. So the Ziggers concept of the degree of virtuality along the continuum is a useful way for us to understand how virtual teams and organizations differ in their level of virtuality, right? So virtuality in essence is a spectrum ranging from low to high, necessitating technology for communication and cooperation. Recognizing it as a continuum provides a more understanding of how teams and organizations functions within different levels of dispersion and connectivity. All right. Next. So in essence, this method recognizes that no two virtual organizations are the same, right? And that the one-size-fits-all solutions will not be suitable or appropriate for everyone, right? So, for example, in cases of low virtuality, teams or organizations may be graphically co-located working in the same time zones, sharing a common culture, and adhering to traditional organizational structures. In such scenarios, face-to-face interactions and physical proximity plays a significant role in their work. However, as you move along the continuum, teams or organizations tend to become more dispersed. The flexibility and the adaptability of this is crucial and essential for effective management and leadership in today's diverse and dynamic work environments. By understanding this continuum, organization and leaders alike can assess the level of virtuality they're dealing with and tailor specific strategies for effective communication, collaboration, and management accordingly. Moving on to the key characteristics of virtual organization. So we have experts like Andy, Ziggers, and others suggest that trust would become a paramount in virtual organizations, as yet it's challenging to development in face-to-face interactions are infrequent. So they suggested a common purpose of shared values amongst members, right? The organizational structure is expected to be flatter with reduced layers, and members at all levels are likely to be more involved in the decision-making process. Next. So leadership in virtual environments. So Avalo and Kai emphasizes at its core, leadership is about the development of relationships. Whether connected via information, technology or not, leaders have to build relationships in order to lead effectively. So let's consider the following scenario. So we have Sarah, who is the CEO of a technology-driven company, right? She demonstrates this concept given that she creates virtual team building exercise, schedule individual check-ins. Thus, this promotes open communication and, kind of open up the doorway for smooth collaboration. This approach helps us strengthen team cohesion and adds to project success. A dedication to relationship building and effective leadership could yield seamless collaboration, which illustrates the timeless significance of relationship building in leadership, especially in a technology-driven settings. Next. All right. So moreover, the Avalo and others emphasize the importance of leadership in virtual settings, focusing on building relationships and establishing effective connections. All right. However, there are some major changes and trends identified by Avalo and Kai, which illustrates that leaders and followers have more access to information on each other. Leadership is migrating to lower and lower levels, and leadership creates and exists within networks. Next. Right. So we have, according to Zakaro and Bada, e-team leader roles or electronic team leader roles contribute to e-team effectiveness includes like building cohesion, cultivating trust, boosting information and idea exchange. Right, all of these facilitate team coordination and integration, thus growing social and human capital. The influence on technology on all. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. The following, moving on to the next slide, new paradigm leadership in conventional paradigm cultures. Next. All right. So the following, when embracing principles of new paradigm leadership, one might find themselves in a conventional culture, which can be quite challenging. So the text on the next slide illustrates these are some of the key points and actions suggested in the chapter to navigate this issue. All right. So we have one, the new paradigm, embracing the new paradigm leadership in a conventional culture. This can be challenging to adopt the new leadership paradigms when operating within a conventional culture. As such, this creates a disconnect and it could present a dilemma. So it went on to step 2 to address this issue, take action. So to address this issue, the following steps are recommended. So we have A, share knowledge. Practice what you have learned with others, including fellow leaders, colleagues within your organizations. By sharing what you know, you reinforce your own understanding of information and potentially find like-minded individuals to connect with. B, accepting personal responsibility. Rather than attributing your inaction to external factors, accept personal responsibility for finding ways to use new information. Don't always say, I can't do that because of someone else. So the chapter more or less pushes you to take like initiative. It encourages you to take initiative. We have C, maintain a positive outlook. Focus on areas where you can apply this new knowledge within your current culture, rather than dwelling on aspects that seems off limit. D, experiment and try new things. Be open to try new approaches, even in small ways. This unit also suggests looking into various exercises and thought pieces, which can be found in resources like the Fifth Discipline Fieldbook, which is a novel based on strategies and tools for building a learning organization by Peter Senge. E, collaborate. Consider collaborating with other organizations, volunteering for programs or activities, serving as guest speakers. This expands your horizon and allows you to apply new paradigm principles beyond your immediate environment. And F, continue learning. Continue to develop your leadership library. Through exploration and reading, it will serve you well for your entire life. And this is a quote from Allen, 1990. So moving on to the summary. So conclusively, this chapter underscores the multifaceted nature of complex organizations, the importance of leadership in aligning with our core values and shared vision, and the need for organizations to adopt an evolving, more virtual future. It challenges the traditional approach to organizational life and advocates for a more inclusive, purpose-driven, and dynamic environment. Moreover, it explored complexity of complex organizations and the role of leadership in their structure, highlighting the importance of mission, vision, and core values as guiding principles. It also discussed virtual organizations of the future, emphasizing factors of trust and common purpose and shared values. The relational leadership model was also pointed out, emphasizing inclusivity, individual empowerment, and process-oriented participation. It promotes ethical behavior to uphold higher standards consistent with the organization's mission, vision, and core values. This unit encourages us to rethink our perspective on organizational life, emphasizing the potential for excitement and energy in complex organization. It encourages continuous learning and personal responsibility to apply new paradigm principles beyond your own limitations. And lastly, the concept of paradigm cultures acknowledge the challenges of applying new paradigm leadership in conventional settings. To overcome this dilemma, leaders ought to share knowledge take personal responsibility, maintain a positive outlook, experiment, collaborate, and continuously learn. These acts enable us to bridge the gap between new and traditional paradigm, fostering growth and flexibility in today's technology-driven leadership settings. Thank you all. Thank you all for your attention. I hope this presentation encourages us as leaders to rethink or reshape our perspective on organizational life. References for this information was derived from the textbook Exploring Leadership. Are there any questions?
All right, if there are no questions, let's pause the recording.